fatigue going on and all sorts. Mr. President, the Attorney General has contributed recently to a narrative that has been taken up by other members of the government. I'm not going to take on the Attorney General in a to and fro on this matter, but I am here as a senator to sound a note of caution to him and the government of Trinidad and Tobago. Mr. Manning always told us back in the day that issues of ethnicity and affecting different ethnic groups in a country like Trinidad and Tobago have to be approached cautiously, especially by those in senior positions. And I can think about no, Mr. President, I'm saying this with my onus on free speech in the Parliament and in response to contributions on the other side. And you could recognize, Mr. President, from their reactions that this is not something they wish to hear. They will hear it anyway. They will hear it anyway. Mr. President, so I'm not going to stay long, but I have some advice for the government. And it is my right to put it on the record as they have taken their right to talk all about the 1% and the this and the that. I hear about who is a proud Syrian and all of that is now, all of that is now in the milieu.
Red man, all of a sudden.
I don't want to belabor the point, but I have to make the point without belaboring it, Mr. President. Mr. President, could I have your protection?
Please, continue.
Mr. President, let me put it this way to begin with. And it shouldn't be a point of controversy. It shouldn't be a point of controversy. But to the Attorney General and colleagues, the point has to be made. The majority of citizens of Trinidad and Tobago are decent, law-abiding people. The majority of citizens of any ancestry or descent in this country are decent, law-abiding citizens. The majority of citizens of Afro ancestry, wherever they live in this country, are decent, law-abiding citizens. The same applies to the majority of citizens of Indian descent. And Mr. President, in the context of those comments, the majority of citizens of Lebanese and Syrian descent are decent, law-abiding citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. And sometimes, and the government has fallen victim to this, they become very loose and cavalier with their language associated in particular with that last group. And it has now become an issue for this society. So this is my caution as a senator, that the government needs to pay closer attention to their languaging. And I saw the Prime Minister trying to sort of, after the fact, moderate what the Attorney General had been saying, but they need to be more careful. Mr. President, I can say without fear of contradiction or putting any reservation, I condemn any attacks or threats from any official in this country against any ethnic group in this country. I want to remind the government that we are at a point of inflection, and the Arab Spring began in Tunisia in certain circumstances. I have a long list here, because there's analysis of what led those societies to that point.
Let us not go there. Let us not go there. I think you were going well.
Thank you.
We're going in that direction I will not permit. I will not permit that. Get off that topic or take a seat.
What?
Okay? I will not permit that in this chamber.
Permit what, Principal?
Where you are going.
Oh, come on.
Okay? So wind up or resist that path.
Mr. President, I take your guidance. I didn't expect that kind of reaction, but I always respect your rulings. So, Mr. President, I just want to say that if a government finds itself operating, and there's a word that I will not use, I will use the word baseism. They have reverted to baseism in a lot of their languaging, and it makes me concerned. It makes me concerned, Mr. President. And you can say anything about any group in Trinidad and Tobago and use whatever euphemism. Now it's the 1%, Mr. President. There are people, there are families in this country who've worked very hard to rise from whatever percent they were over the generations to whatever percent they are today. And there are others of all ethnicities who are working very hard to lift their families up to whatever level on the socioeconomic ladder. If you find yourself as a government starting to broad brush the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago in the manner that I've heard in this debate and very recently, it makes me concerned, Mr. President. And if it's one thing you can say about the Lebanese and Syrian community, they take care of their families and they take care of their children. Mr. President, I thank you.